Gotcha.
All right, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Well, hi guys, great to see you all. Thanks for coming in today to be part of this conversation around worship. I'm Jay. I'm part of our worship team as well and help look after our locations, what we kind of do with our Sunday expression of worship across the places. So I'm heavily invested, I guess, into this area and to this topic. It's my passion. I love worship. Not just what we do on a Sunday, but I love the whole idea of what worship is. And I do love the Sunday expression as well. I love that we actually get to gather together as a church, people from all walks of life, and people are coming in. You know, some people have had a great week, some people have had a terrible week, but there's this thing that kind of just unifies us and actually brings us together. And it's to lift up the name of Jesus. And I love that. I do love that expression of what we do on a Sunday. And at the same time, I equally love everything that happens off the platform as well, outside of the Sunday experiences. As I go through the week, when I'm working, when I'm with my wife and the kids, there's so many different expressions of worship that kind of weave itself into my life. And I guess that's the thing that I love about worship. It's not contained to like one thing, but it just goes into every area of our lives. It permeates into everything that we do, if we allow it to. I think let's kind of start in a little bit light. What do you love about worship?
I'm Kemi. The first thing that comes to mind is the peace, whether it be through music, whether it be just to dwell in the presence of God. I think the peace that comes always helps me for the next step in whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, I love that.
Hi, I'm Kath. I'd say what I love about worship, it enables me to engage with God. And that can sound so astounding, but it's actually a real thing that we're humans, but we can engage with our God. That's what worship does for me.
Amazing. And Pete?
I love how it's just an opportunity to just get realigned, get the right perspective. Let everything that's going on, whether it's a busy day or really whatever's happened, just the moment of going, this is who I am, this is who God is, and allowing the rest of the time after that to come out of that place. So I guess it's that re-centering.
Hi, my name is Joe. I like worship as well because it's more what I find to be like simply what we're created for, you know?
I want to change tact, like quite heavily. I guess throw the question out, is there a wrong way to worship? And if there is, what does that look like potentially?
If we're going to talk about a wrong way, then we have to define what is the right way. You know, what is worship? So that's something to consider really as we're talking. To know if we're doing it wrong, we don't know what is worship. And as I said, it's the way that we engage with God. And I don't know if there's necessarily a wrong way to engage with God because he wants us to engage with him. And I think once we know what that is, if anything, the wrong way is, I guess you could say, is not engaging with him because you're maybe just going through the motions of what you think worship is, but you're not really concentrating on him, devoting time. You're just doing something because it ticks a box.
Yeah, I agree, but then also I feel like, for me personally, I feel like it's a bit bold to say there's a wrong way, because I feel like even me, I'm learning different, what that even means to worship. But I just think it's really important not to be performative, I think, with your worship. I think it's so important to come with an authentic heart, even if that is you trying to be in a certain place within yourself. I think it's so, and that looks different for every season, right? So then it begs the question if there is really a wrong way to, I mean, if you're like building an idol and then doing up worshipping like then I feel like maybe that's missing, defeating the purpose in what we're discussing. But I feel like when it comes to when you come to God, I don't know if there's a wrong way as much as there's a way to avoid, because then you might not be able to receive from him.
I think it's great. I think everybody's going to come at this from so many different backgrounds, experiences, growing up, experiences now in life, family situations. And that's what's great about this, to talk about it. So I think I totally agree. It's about the position we take. For me, in the Bible, one thing I find great comfort in is this passage in Romans 12 where Paul talks about this is your true and proper worship. Or another translation says this is your spiritual worship. And the whole thing is, he says, take your lives, your bodies, and present them. Present it as a sacrifice that is holy.
Living sacrifice.
Exactly. But it's what is holy and acceptable to God. And the great thing is that we get caught up on so what do we have to do to be holy and acceptable to God, rather than the only way you can be holy and acceptable to God is to embrace what he has done for you. Because you can't do something to make yourself holy and acceptable. You can only accept what he has done. And the Message translation says, embracing what God has done for you is the best thing you can do for him. So whatever you're going to do with your hands, your feet, your face, your position is what's important, not focusing on what I'm doing. But for me, so it comes what's the wrong way to worship is when I focus on what I'm doing and not God, who God is, if that makes sense.
This whole thing about worshiping in spirit and in truth, I feel like it's so important. But yeah, he said, but the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father is seeking such people to worship him. And it's like knowing we're created to worship God, and for the Father is seeking such people to worship him. Like God's will for us. He knows that's the best thing that, like, it sounds so like, oh, that's just Christian talk. Like that's the best thing you could do. But if you're doing something you're created to do, it's just satisfaction.
The whole spirit and truth thing, it's head and heart. It engages the emotions as well. It engages what the truth of God is. There's a John Piper quote that it's in this book, Desiring God, but he says this, he says, truth without emotion produces dead orthodoxy and a church full of artificial admirers. On the other hand, emotion without truth produces empty frenzy and cultivates shallow people who refuse the disciple of rigorous thought. But true worship comes from people who are deeply emotional and who love deep and sound doctrine. Strong affections for God rooted in truth are the bone and marrow of biblical worship. I love that because it's not one or the other. It's both and.
But also, when you're reading that scripture, where that comes from, they that worship must worship in spirit and in truth, he's speaking to the woman at the well, and he says, you do not know what you worship. You do not even know. And he's saying, because salvation is of the Jews. When he says you do not know, I think there's something about knowing God that enables you to worship him. So because whatever you worship, you know about it and you want to devote to it. And I don't think you can devote to something you don't know. Then he says, those that worship must worship in spirit and truth. So the truth is about knowing. So once you know, you then can have your, as you said, the emotions behind it, then you can understand. It's almost like worshipping with understanding. Because how can you do that if you don't know? He said, you don't even know who you worship. You've got to worship in spirit and truth with an understanding of who God is, and he's one that reveals himself to us.
Would you say like the truth as well could be more how you're presenting yourself to God rather than like if you're not like sad, for example, you're bringing yourself to be happy before God, where God obviously knows you're sad. So it's like, would you say that or not?
Yeah,
because that's part of what goes back to the Romans 12 thing. When God says offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, what he's not saying is offer your works, offer what other people see, bring yourself. That's greater than anything you can do for me. What I'm saying is you might have come in at 7 and stacked all the chairs and made the tea and the coffee and done a lot for God, but he's after you. That's right. And then Jesus in Matthew 6, he says, when you come before God, come as humbly and as honest. And he says this striking thing, he says, for your Father already knows what you're going to tell him. He already knows that. So he's not after your ability to craft a list of things, however noble, good or bad, angry or happy. He knows it all. He's saying, come as simply as you can, bring yourself. And that's why to the Romans, the idea of the living sacrifice was so bizarre, because they were used to sacrifice. But in Roman times, the whole point of the sacrifice is it's dead. So the whole phrase living sacrifice was a complete paradox. What do you mean? And that's why the language is striking, because he's saying, come as you are, but come and give it to me. and let me pick it up.
Reflecting on everything we've just discussed, worship can be understood as the natural human response of honor, devotion, reverence, and praise to something or someone whose greatness and magnitude inspire a deep sense of awe and wonder. As Christians, our worship is reserved for God alone and results in an expansive, all-encompassing lifestyle of adoration that seeks intimacy with Him, obedience to Him, and to glorify Him above all else. In the Message paraphrase, Romans 12:1 and 2 says, "So here's what I want you to do, God helping you. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Embracing what God does for you is the best thing you can do for Him." Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. Instead, fix your attention on God. You'll be changed from the inside out. Readily recognize what He wants from you and quickly respond to it. Unlike the culture around you, always dragging you down to its level of immaturity, God brings the best out of you, develops well-formed maturity in you.